everyone, today I want to share my March favorites with you, and I am wanting to introduce a bit more watercolor into my art. And so yeah, I took a little break from them, and I think I have a video coming out. I'm not sure in which proximity to this video, but I guess in a few weeks time, where I kind of talk a little bit more about why I have stayed away from watercolors in the last, I don't know, it feels like it's been almost a year. But anyway, so basically I'll have some pencils to show you. I will also show you two different bodies of acrylic paint, and we have some watercolors. I was going to show you a really beautiful color of acrylic that I really am enjoying, and I don't know if I should pull it out or not, but I think I will. So it's the Titan Mars Pale. For me, the joy when it comes to art is combining different textures and different, viscosity of paint. So I like going from thick and kind of these sort of creamy textures to watery and these washy kind of washed out type of watercolor effects. So let's start with the pencils first. So these are, a couple of them are from the newer, or from the pencils that I have recently added to my collection. Raw Umber 10%. I'm switching to voiceover just for a few minutes. It will go back to normal speed, like real time, and normal sort of speaking audio. But yeah, there was just some noise in the background. Okay, so here the pencil that I just swatched, the Raw Umber 10%, is the perfect continuation of Buff Titanium, although I have a Buff Titanium pencil by Luminance, but it's nothing like the Buff Titanium watercolor or Buff Titanium acrylic. So the one that I currently use, and I showed you on that extra painting, that was the golden heavy body Buff Titanium, and this pencil is just a perfect match. So whenever I'm working with that Buff Titanium heavy body acrylic, I find it really quite useful to use this pencil with it. Second swatch was also Luminance, and it was Burnt Ochre, and then the blue one was also Luminance, and it's Ultramarine. The final pencil that you can see here is the Derwent Inktense in the color Lagoon. It's a great kind of match to a ultramarine. As you can see, the one before that is not quite ultramarine like. And then finally we have golden fluid acrylic in Indian yellow hue. Hey everyone, this is now the day after. I ran out of time to film, so basically this is where I stopped with the golden fluid acrylics in Indian yellow hue. So now I'm going to also swatch out the Sepia, and this is the high flow acrylics, and you'll see it's a lot more fluid and it's sort of like acrylic ink. What I do forget to do with the high flows is to give them a good mix, and you need to do it because they are fluid and they can have a bit of, settling of the pigment, which you don't need to do with these because they have some sort of viscosity in there, and these don't. So make sure you give them a little shake. Okay, so let's have a look. Now this color doesn't look like much on the actual swatch right here, but you will see that in fact I've got still yesterday's water. You'll see that it does change the color quite a bit, so it's got nice variety there. You can go from something as light, even lighter than that, here. So something as light as this to this beautiful deep tone. Okay, so that's that. Now I want to do the heavy body acrylic, also by Golden, and the color is Titan Mars Pale. I'm not going to use any water with this one because I like it to be as heavy body as possible. So I just use a spatula. This is how I use these paints, and just creating a texture like so. My favorite is this. I love that. And yeah, it's a beautiful peachy pink that comes straight out of the tube at a perfect color. Don't need to mix it. It's gorgeous. Okay, so let's move on to watercolors. I changed my water just now and cleaned up the palette a little bit. So the first color that I have here kind of goes in line with this Indian yellow hue. This one is Schmincke Quinacridone Gold Hue. Now I squeezed it out into my palette, so I don't want to have any wasting as per usual. And so I'm going to just use the color from here. So here it is, as you can see, very, very similar to that color. Next color we have is the transparent Sienna, and I have this color also right here. So I'm just going to wake it up a little. And this one dried quite hard, so I'm just going to let it sit in the water. Okay, so let's see how this one is getting on now. Transparent Sienna. So the difference with this Sienna is that usually, or in some cases, Siennas are a little bit more, they can have a bit more opacity to them. They're not fully opaque, but kind of like semi. And this particular one is fully transparent, and you can make it as rich and dark as you like. It still will maintain that transparency, and that's why I picked this color. Okay, let's move on to this one here. So French Ultramarine. So you can see this color is somewhere in between those two, so a bit more richer than this one. And I guess that's what I meant when I said I wanted this color to resemble this Lagoon. When it was still wet, it had that more, it wasn't as dark. When it dried, it became a little bit more darker. But yeah, this one is a perfect combo of those two. So Glacier Black. Glacier Black, I actually have a little bit here, but I had a lot of separation happening, so the Gamma Arabic separated quite a bit in this one. So I'm just going to use it off the toothpick, like so. I don't like wasting any bit of watercolor. So I'm just going to add water because this is way too thick. So somewhere around here. This is a very interesting color. It's a black, but it has a blue in there, and it's gorgeous. It comes through very nicely in some mixes, and that's what I'm going to do down here below. For now I'm going to title them and let these dry and then do the mixes up here for you to see the gorgeousness. Okay, so I have a video which will be coming out at some point, but yeah, so I was mixing these colors and some of them really stood out to me, and one of the reasons why I included Quinacridone Gold Hue Transparent, Sienna and Black Glacier is because of the mixes that I liked. So, and also what I did here, I used one of my stamp sets, which is this one, and that comes from, let me just show you. This comes from this set, Color Theory, and then I also have another watercolor set, which is Swatch Joy, and these are still available on my Etsy, Alyona Creates, in case you're interested. Today I'm going to use this stamp here. It's supposed to be a full pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swatch them and overlap in the half, like in the middle. So I'm going to stamp again and again and again, and I will show you what we will end up with. If I find my, there we go, my, for those of you who ask, Distress Ink by Tim Holtz, Tattered Rose. This is my color of choice for stamping. I personally don't like stamping with black, but you do you. Sometimes I'm in the mood, but mostly I like it not to be like that, i.e. black. So anyway, I'll keep it here. So what I'm gonna do is just stamp it here, and then again into the ink, and then roughly in the middle, like that. So you end up with 3 lines. Let me bring you up close so you can see. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect symmetry here at all, but roughly, because what we want to end up with is with these sort of repetitions here. Okay, also the acrylic block, I ran out, I sold out of the round ones. They were perfect for the bigger elements in this Color Theory set, so they were quite good for those two. But for the smaller elements, I still have these ones available. Okay, so I'll continue. So next one, I'll just stamp right on the line if I can, and then continue that way, like so. I usually don't do this sort of exercise for my favorites, I just swatch them out, but because it's watercolor and I'm trying to get back into it, I find that these sort of little playtimes that you have, they really help getting you back into it. So we have these lovely small areas to mix your colors in. Again, if you wanted this in black ink, go ahead. If you want them to be more visible, i.e. you want to line them out, go ahead, do that. But I'll just leave it as it is. And I will start with, in fact, I'm going to go change my water because it could do better. Okay, so let's start by having a nice bit of a mixing fun. Let's start with Quinacridone Gold Hue. I'm just going to wet these areas here where there's loads of paint, because I want to use up every little bit of it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I hope that's better. So here we go. Next one, I think I will do, yeah, we'll do up to here. Okay, so next one is going to be Glacier Black. It goes right here. Now, the magic starts happening roughly here, where if I just take some of it into here. See, the problem with a close-up, you can't see what's happening up here. And I just start mixing it. Like so. So Glacier Blue, Glacier Black has a blue in there. And that's why you get this sort of like a subtle black. So you can see what's happening by touching the swatches is that actually you can see how strong and how pushy the color is. So Glacier Black definitely is pushy and is creating that beautiful texture which you can't see as much in this swatch because there was more pigment in there. But you can see now what's happening here. So now let's go from the black into this color here, the transparent sienna. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is try to add some water and let it sit like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to take quite a generous load of this color and then mix in the transparent sienna. Okay, so let's start. Now this is too much sienna. I want it to be the closest to this color here. So let's see, we've got 5 in between. So here, and then this one is going to be our sienna. Like that. So that we know where we're going. I'm going to load up more of this color now and start. Okay. Now we'll be adding bit by bit more of this transparent sienna. So we get some pretty beautiful variations. I'm going to make sure I have plenty of water because when it's not enough water, you don't get to see the granulation as strongly. Okay, so thereabout. I feel like I could have some more variations right here with the black. Let's see, maybe if I go straight into the black, do this one a bit more like that, and then this one a bit more that way, we at least get a bit of variation, I think. I'm going to try and take some of this off. Okay, so I think that works well. We've got some nice colors here. In fact, I'm not getting a color that I wanted to see. I'm going to actually mix it up here. Like that. I think when it dries, we'll be able to see a bit more, but you could see how instantly the transparent sienna pushed into it. Okay, let's move on to this classic color mix, which is burnt sienna and ultramarine. So they are usually used to create a lovely neutral grey. So I'm going to just add this color on its own again and put the ultramarine at the other end. Okay, so here we go. Slowly I will start introducing a bit of the transparent sienna. Some beautiful stuff going on there. Going to create a nice puddle of this intense color. And just start by adding tiny bit. Well, that was way too much, but anyway. Into here. And you can see we're already hitting that perfect spot of grey. But you can get so much variety with these two colors. There we go. So I think they're just gorgeous. Super, super beautiful. All right, I'm going to let them dry because at the moment the paper is going wibbly wobbly. So we had a bit of time and let's start having a close-up. Aren't these some pretty cool colors? I mean, when we first watched these ones, they were looking a lot more grayer, and now the ultramarine came through a lot stronger. But I think what happened is that the concentration of ultramarine from this first swatch just kind of shot through the other colors and basically pushed the sienna out a bit more, is what I'm thinking. So yeah, these are some pretty beautiful mixes, and here are the original ones. So the acrylic has almost dried, so in this area where I'm touching it, and you can see it remained this gorgeous texture. So I love heavy body for that. And we have all the pencils here and the two, the fluid and the high flows acrylics as well. So I hope you enjoyed this fun little swatch session and a mixing session. Colors are a little bit different to what I'd expect to be craving for spring, but I think this is all kind of subconscious in a way, and yeah, it's interesting that I'm drawn to the yellows and blues at the minute, so I guess it's obvious why. But anyways, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, found it useful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.